right, 6 p.m. We'll go ahead and get started. This is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. It's on. Well, we're kind of having to share one. I don't know where the other one ran off.
Oh, okay.
So, Tuesday, March 25th, 2025, meeting of Planning and Zoning Commission. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Roll call. Is that what we,
Commissioner Parrish,
Present.
Commissioner Hallwood,
Present.
Commissioner Nico, Commissioner Bennett,
Present.
Commissioner Raymond,
Present.
Commissioner Brewer,
Present.
Chairman DeBrow.
present?
Chairman, can we go back to the statement of purpose and then the pledge?
We can. I've got that taken care of. Commissioner Raymond, would you read the statement of purpose, please?
May our decisions today be made with wisdom, careful deliberation, and in the best interest of the city of Diamond Head. May we display patience and kindness in our dealings with each other and all who are in attendance, and may any decisions made today promote the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Diamond Head and the enhancement of the city as a whole.
Thank you. Commissioner Parrish, would you please lead us in pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we've already done the roll call, so we're good there.
Good job.
Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
We don't.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any adjustments or changes to the minutes from February 25th? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for February 25th?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have anything for architectural review?
No, we do not.
All right. First order of business, Robert J. Groh has filed an application requesting a variance from the zoning ordinance, Article 3.4.7, to allow the re-subdivision of the lot to be 9,426 square feet. The property address is 659 Kula Drive. The tax parcel number is 067N-2-35-168.000. The property is in R10 zoning district. The minimum lot size is 10,000 square feet. The variance requested is 574 square feet. The case file number is 2025-00087.
Mr. Chairman, let me set the stage for this. First of all, let me make my opening statement. I want to tell you that everything has been published according to our laws and ordinances. Both of these cases have been published in the Seacoast Echo. They've been mailed to adjacent property owners within 400 feet of the properties that are listed in here. They've been posted on the properties, and they've also been posted on the bulletin boards. Both sets are both bulletin boards, front and back, and also on the website. Okay. And I would just like for the record to remind those at home watching this, and also to the members here, residents here, that the Planning and Zoning Commission is a recommending body. The final decision authority rests with the City Council, and whatever the commission decides today as a recommendation will go to the council on next Tuesday, April the 1st, for the final decision to be made on both of these new business items. To the matter of hand here, for the property listed at 659 Koola Drive, what we have here, Mr. Groh owned both of these lots and built a house on one of the lots. And when he built the house, ended up the landscaping, the AC pad, and fence were on the other lot. He subsequently sold it to a Mr. Sampson, and he has this lot 15, the other lot, up for sale. And so he has made an agreement with Mr. Sampson that he's going to give him 8 feet of the property there. So it will restore back his 10 feet setback. It will put any of his house and the AC pad outside the 5-foot utility and drainage easement. So it will be in compliance. In order to do that, the remainder of lot 15 will be less than 10,000 square feet. And in R10 residential areas, they have, the minimum lots is 10,000 square feet. So they're requesting a variance of 574, what was that? 74
74.
square feet, I'm sorry. 574 square feet to the 10,000 square foot minimum lot size. And I do not believe there's any, Mr. Grow is not here, nor Mr. Sampson, so.
All right.
Any questions for me on this?
Does that, when we change the zoning as far as the size of homes, obviously this backs up to the golf course. Now that this lot is being reduced in size, does that have any impact on the requirement for the size of home that needs to go on this lot because it's adjacent to the golf course?
I do not think so, and I think when we changed the zoning, what we did then was we took areas that were not identified with a minimum square footage in the new subdivisions. And so this was a grandfathered in or existing platted subdivision. The ones we did were the new subdivisions with the platting on that.
Okay. I thought it was always zoning.
Oh, and I believe in this area, the minimum square footage for the house is 1,400 square feet. So it would certainly accommodate, the 9,000 plus square feet would accommodate a house of 1,400 square feet. So to answer your question, the new minimum square footage was applied to those lots that had not been platted at the time the minimum square footage had been applied to the lots.
But does it not change the plot of that now that the,
We did not do that. As far as the minimum square footage has not changed on that lot.
So you're saying it's always been 1,400 square feet?
Yes,
And it still is 1,400 square feet?
That is correct, yeah.
I guess, let me ask this a different way. It was pre-plotted as a 10,000 square foot lot, correct?
Correct.
Now, it is no longer a 10,000 square foot lot. It is now being zoned as a different lot size.
Correct.
Does that mean that that plot is still applicable, or now it should be considered a new lot?
No, it's all you're doing is replatting something that's already platted. If it was a new plat, if it was a subdivision that was being proposed, like the sanctuary or
Right.
like what Elliott Homes is doing in their phases, then that's when you apply when they do the new plats. This is replatting two existing platted lots.
Okay.
So it doesn't change from that standpoint.
All right, thank you.
Good question.
Any further questions, Council?
Got a staff recommendation?
Certainly. All right. The staff recommends to approve this variance as petitioned. As you know, you must answer an affirmative to the items that the ordinance calls for. Special conditions and circumstances do exist. The residence on the adjoining lot was constructed with landscaping fencing and the AC pad extending beyond the property line. The literal interpretation of the provisions of this title would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by others. By adding an additional 8 feet to the adjoining property, the existing resident will meet the 10-foot side yard setback, as well as removing the encroachment of the 5-foot utility and drainage issue. and I may well add, since I've spoken to legal, and will also prevent us from having legal problems down the road if whoever owned the house wanted to sue because they didn't have their 10-foot and they didn't have the 5-foot easement, et cetera, and shouldn't have been sold that way or built that way. And we had one of those situations in past back, and we got sued because of the drainage and utilities. So it will prevent any legal action. The existing house now complies with the 5-foot utility and drainage easement. Special conditions do not result from the actions of the applicant. It will not confer on the applicant any special privilege. It's a minimum required to make things happen. Will not change the character of the areas in the spirit of the comprehensive plan, and will not result in any change of use or density of the subject property. So based on those factors, the staff recommends approval of the variance as petitioned.
Okay. Any further
May I ask
comments?
another question? I'm sorry. Is it too late?
Do what? No,
May I ask
no,
another
no,
question?
no, never.
Thank you. So, under C, the special conditions and circumstances that don't result from the actions of the applicant, did he build the house on the lot?
I don't know the answer to that
Okay.
question. The existing owner, it didn't apply to him. I don't know whether Mr. Grove built that house or not. I suspect that he probably did. I suspect that he probably said, I own both lots. You know, I can go ahead and step over to that side.
So if you'll look at it, it is a little confusing. It was Sampson that is the owner of the existing residence.
Yes, but he bought that from Mr. Grove.
Right.
He bought
Yes.
that from Mr.
Yes.
Grove.
Yes.
Okay. All right,
Yes,
And Mr. Grow is asking for the variance.
right.
correct. So that the remaining lot can be
Right.
built on.
So wait a second.
So has he already purchased the house from Mr. Grow?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And now he's purchasing 8 foot off that other lot.
No, Mr. Grove, he's purchasing, whatever agreement the two parties have, I'm not aware of.
Okay,
But-
so
but-
Mr. Sampson is purchasing
Correct.
574
Square
square
feet.
feet from
Correct.
Mr.
That's correct,
But because he purchased Mr. Grove's
correct,
lot next door with the house on it.
correct.
And so, in order for Mr. Sampson not to be encroaching on his neighbor's property,
Right.
to resolve it, and instead of going to a lawsuit, to resolve it, they agreed, I'll
Yeah.
sell you this amount.
Mhm.
But that then put Mr. Grow at odds with the city in terms of the lot size, and that's why he needs that
Mhm.
variance.
And I guess the other option would be if Mr. Sampson would buy that other lot and merge them, consolidate them, then
Yes,
that'd be resolved
that
that way
is,
too.
that is one, yes.
Any further questions?
So, okay,
Go
so,
ahead, Jesse.
so Mr. Grow, so the lots were, did he subdivide the lot? They were never joined?
They were never joined.
Never
They were
joined.
never combined, not that I could find any record thereof.
Okay,
And the house was built, I think, in 2002. So that was before the city,
mhm,
so that was POA, Hancock County. I don't know how it ended up that way. Like I suspect what it was I owned both lots. I could do with them what I wanted.
Well,
That's what I
And
suspect.
we have found, this has kind of happened, you know, Pat alluded to, this has kind of happened in the past, and the city actually did get brought into a lawsuit because there was an encroachment. It was, there was actually, the structure was built on the lot, and I don't know if it predated the city, I imagine it did. And the neighbors, and once one of the properties was being sold, the title company said, we've got to clear this up. And so they initiated a lawsuit. Again, they couldn't resolve their issue. They initiated a lawsuit against each other. One wanted adverse possession of the other, and they had to name the city in there because the city has an easement that was right in the middle. So the city was an interested party as well. So it was just so that's one of the reasons
Yeah.
for kind of, as we see these things come up, it's got to be dealt with at some
Right,
point.
right.
It can be dealt with in litigation, but that's not the fun,
Yes.
quick, easy way to do it.
Thank you. That answered my questions.
All right, no further comments? We're ready for a vote? Can I get a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the planning commission to approve the variance as petitioned.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. We will do a roll call on this one? Sure.
Okay.
Commissioner Parrish,
Yes.
Commissioner Nico, Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Raymond,
Yes.
Commissioner Hallwood,
Yes?
Commissioner Bennett,
Yes.
Chairman DeGrow.
Yes. All right. Item number 4. Donna Goody has filed an application requesting a variance from the zoning ordinance, Article 3.4.8, to allow the extension of the existing garage within 3 feet 6 inches of the side property line. The property address is 896 Maile Way. The tax parcel number is 067J-2-36-024.000. The property is in an R6 zoning district. The side yard setback is 10 feet. The variance requested is 6 foot 6 inches. Case file number is 2025-00100.
Okay, this is a situation of, the applicant wants to add an extension under the garage, to add for additional cover parking. I believe they've got a golf cart and 2 vehicles there and a 2-car garage, so, they need some additional parking. They're proposing to, add a, addition to the garage is going to be 9 feet wide by 24 foot long. And because the property is in a pie-shaped situation, the front is wider than the back, so it kind of comes in a pie shape. The further back on your lot, the closer you are to the property lines, et cetera. They have asked to build that garage extension to within 3.5 feet, I believe, of the property line. Now, I will say we've had some discussions with the property owner and also Brian Griffith, who's representing the property owner for Rush Construction, and they've come up with a plan to request less of a variance, because one of the problems would be is that we would, with that 3.5%, you still have a structure in the drainage utility easement, and that's not going to fly in Diamond Head, not to have a structure there. They've got an existing driveway. Driveway is one thing, structure is entirely different. So Brian has come back with a plan that would only require a 5-foot variance, leaving the drainage and utility easement not infringed upon. So that's kind of set it up.
Can I ask a question, Pat?
Certainly.
If this was not an enclosed garage, i.e. it was just a cover, 2 poles coming off their house, it's just a cover, it's not enclosed, would that require, carport, would that require a variance?
Yes.
Even if it's not covered on 4 sides or 3
If
sides?
it's attached, it applies to the house, the setback for the residence, which is
Right.
10 foot, and not in the 5-foot utility. If it's not attached, then it's an accessory structure, but you still have to have it, the accessory structure has to be 5 foot from the side yard, 10 foot from the residence. So it's not gonna work either way.
So even if it was a four post, just,
That's correct.
you know, cover.
That's correct. That's
Correct.
correct. So the fact that it's enclosed really has no bearing. Doesn't make any difference.
So the request changed in size, is that what you said?
Yes, from going back, and can we call Brian up and he can
Yeah,
explain to you?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
He's here, he's waiting.
Okay,
And I do have another question. Let's say if for some reason we decide to approve this,
Mm-hmm.
would that, what's the word I'm saying? Would that remove him from any kind of lawsuit if y'all had, if for some reason the city has to do a drainage or anything through there? I mean,
Well, we have 5 feet on either side of the property line.
right.
And that's what, anything more than that, then we need to get permission from the property owner.
Right.
But we have to have access to that 5 feet. A driveway, we can go in and remove that very easily.
Right.
And then the homeowner can come back and have that driveway repaved, okay? But with the structure there, it creates a whole different set of, you know, how do you destroy that? Who's gonna pay for it, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera. So, plus it inhibits that drainage easement by having a structure in the easement.
It's 5 feet on either side of the property line.
That's
On the
correct.
sides of each
Yeah.
property, correct, from the,
Yeah.
yeah, from that property line, and that's why, and Mr. Griffin
kinda
can
confusing.
tell, he can tell y'all and describe y'all, I think what he's done is amended slightly so that instead of asking for a variance of 6 feet, 6 inches, he's asking for simply a variance of 5 feet. But I'll let him,
So, in Exhibit A2 in the package, you can see
Excuse me,
how.
Brian,
I'm sorry.
introduce yourself,
I'm sorry,
please.
I'm Brian Griffith, also a Diamond Head resident, 79326 Diamond Head Drive East.
hi.
Thank you.
Hi. So, in the package for A2, you see how oddly shaped the polygon is, in portion to the lot. 48.5 foot back property line fanning out. It also occurs at the very confluence of the very sharp arc of Maili Way to the left. So as it comes in, so it makes this challenging, right? So but fully understanding the 5-foot drainage easement, if that request is 5 foot, it creases the existing, what would have been optimal, would have been the 9 by 24 for the customer. But to stay out of that 5-foot segment, it would actually have to drop back to 9 by 20, which they would have to lose 4 foot of the back end of the garage. That would leave the 5 foot unabated, running the parallel property sideline. I believe that's to the west. So, yes, they would lose 4 feet to accommodate what we understand is the offense with the drainage easement. Is that making sense to everyone? So,
I'm looking at your A2 and I'm just trying to envision, I'm seeing the 10-foot setback,
mm-hmm.
but you said it was just 5 feet on either side of the property line, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
That's what I was trying,
Yeah.
different lines on here, the setback line, but it's actually, it really should be the
And I
5-foot setback.
apologize if I may, just to illustrate, so if I drop that 10-foot back to 5 foot, I would
Yeah.
crease,
Right.
I would crease the,
You'd be on
crease
that
the
line.
structure. If I have, I'll actually well surpass the 5-foot freedom, if you will, of the drainage easement by setting it back 4 feet.
So then by coming back 4 feet, the entire structure would then be within that 5 foot between the property line, the west property line and the 5-foot setback.
Yes, sir.
Pat, does he, obviously the information he's providing is, does he have to reapply?
No.
No.
He's asked for, he's agreeing to, as a compromise, to bring it back and stay out of the 5-foot utility. If we approve that, then that's fine. And if we don't approve it, or if we recommend that, or if we don't recommend that, that's fine. So no.
Okay.
That was a short answer, no. I've been sitting
I
too
think
close
there's-
to Derek's too
I
much.
think there's confusion, well, on my part anyway, between the 5-foot and the 10-foot setback.
Yes,
So it sounds like two different things, but it's really not.
right.
So,
Within the 10-foot setback, there's a 5-foot
on each side.
Easement.
each side, right.
Right.
So he's still gonna need a variance of 5 foot from the 10-foot setback, but he will not be in the drainage and utility easement.
Correct.
And I think where that's important is, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but when you look to Mr. Rich's recommendation, that really was his only reason for the denial, or recommended denial, was the fact that it was going to be in the easement. Now that it's not, and I'll leave that to Pat when he reads his recommendation, but I believe that'll
Right.
maybe change that.
So it's gonna go from a 9 by 24 to a 9 by 20.
Correct.
Do you have anything else for us, Brian?
Only if you have any questions for me.
Any further
I mean,
questions?
it's simply a shortening of
So,
the garage structure.
we're good?
Still meets their utility. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Did you want to add anything?
Okay, very good. That's the homeowner back there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Just
Oh.
wanted to give her an opportunity to speak.
So, do you want to reiterate your,
Yes,
Recommendation.
of course, you know, we notified everybody within 400 feet of the residence. And the next door neighbor, and this is included in your package, her son, the owner, Susan Duffy, her son lives in the house next door, and he had signed a document saying that he, representing his, on behalf of his mother, had no problem with the variance request. Mrs. Duffy came in our office and said she did have a problem with it, so I went through the documentation on that and had her sign it. I contacted her again today to see, with the revision of going from being 3.5 feet from her property line, going to 5 feet from her property line, and not being, it would change her opinion. She said, no, she still opposes it, okay?
So her son that lives there, but he's not the owner.
No, he's not the owner.
She's got a
She-
life estate in the
Right.
property, and he's living in it
Okay.
currently.
Did any of the other neighbors,
No other responses. We haven't received anything else. This was
Okay.
the only thing.
But there's a current slab there, right, from what I'm seeing in
Yes.
pictures?
Yes, there's a driveway, which is being used to park a car there.
Right, yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that in the picture.
About wanting to make those statements. So again, in that polygon, imagine the property line here and the home projected at Maili Way. Her property is so far removed to the left,
Notice that.
it's almost out of sight when you compare it to any other property on Long and Array, Straight Line Array and Diamond Head. So it can't, it seems inconsistent that it's any encroachment or anything. So I just want to point out, you know, if you were closing down the structure side by side to a house, you could begin to see where it would possibly irritate somebody. But this one is really far set aside. Like the whole projection of her home is tilted completely away.
I think you have a view of what he's talking about, page 18 in your handout, in your agenda packet. Shows where the property line is there, based on the orange stakes.
So whose flower bed is that?
That is the Godays?
Gades.
I knew I got it
We've
wrong.
been
Gades.
We've been wrong all day on that.
Yep. don't think any of us pronounced that correctly.
Big fail.
You got a recommendation?
Why, certainly. Somewhere in here. All right. I'm going to modify my recommendation that you have in front of you. I'm going to go from a denial to an approval based on the facts, the adjustments that Mr. Griffith has made to the request, going from requesting 3.5 feet, well, I guess it was a 6.5 foot variance, correct? 6.5 foot variance. Now he's gone to a 5 foot variance and moves it out of the drainage easement. And if you'll notice, in my findings, I answered affirmative to all the findings, which is required for a variance, with one exception. And that exception was item number E would not represent the minimum variance that would afford relief and the least modification. And my objection was that the request would allow the structure in the 5 foot drainage and utility easement, which is not allowed. So he has removed my objection to that. So I feel that the way the lot is constructed, the narrowing of the lot, the pie shape of that, kind of restricts that. The way the house is sitting on the lot and the big curve there on the street, it restricts a lot of that. It doesn't have any room on the other side to put one. So my feeling is, as long as it stays outside of our drainage easement, utility easement, then I recommend approval, or recommend that you recommend approval to the city council.
Is that based, Pat, on a 5 foot variance now?
That's correct, based on a 5 foot variance,
So
okay?
instead of 6'6",
Right,
it now becomes a 5 foot variance,
that is correct.
and then you recommend approval.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Very good, Bill. Thank you.
Another quick question, Pat. With this now being, where it's going to be sitting as far as property line wise, and I'm assuming it's gonna be a pitched roof coming off, is there a requirement to gutter that property side of the roof to not adversely push water onto the neighbor's property?
Y'all could,
Bo, you want to help me out on that one?
y'all,
I defer to the building official.
Okay, well,
All right. There we go. There is no gutter requirement necessarily, but there's always a requirement of the water can't adversely affect the neighbors. If it's something that might be needed, that's possible. Without really looking at the site, I couldn't tell. It doesn't look like the water drains that way just from these pictures. Especially with that flower bed around the trees, it doesn't look like water drains that way. But I could be wrong.
So
It looks like they have gutters on the house already right now.
Correct.
yeah, so,
That is correct. You can certainly make that a condition of the approval,
That's
is
what I was gonna
that it
say.
be guttered, because there are existing gutters on the roof line of the garage now. And since it will be attached, then I'm assuming all that drainage that was going to the gutters will be coming to gutters.
Yes, sir. So let me answer two things. First, the project scope includes the guttering, but just for the facts being what they are, as I think Commissioner Brewer, you pointed out, there is currently a slab there. So the impervious surface is existing regardless, and there's no change in the water distribution projection on the lot, but it will be guttered.
okay.
Okay.
No, perfect. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've personally been in situations where that, especially when you have a neighbor that's already not wanting you to have something there. Sure.
Excellent point. Thank you.
Did the neighbor say why she doesn't agree? Was there any? No.
I'd rather not get into the whys. I'd rather
Okay.
just stay with that she didn't
Sure.
agree, okay?
Okay. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any, like, you
She
know,
didn't
what Scott
she didn't
mentioned.
identify any drainage issues or
Okay.
anything like that.
No,
did
there
she,
were,
Pat?
there were no points, just the
Okay.
basis of a variance.
I understand.
Okay.
Any further questions? Comments?
Thank
All right. Can I get a motion to either approve or deny the recommendation?
A motion to approve the revised recommendation, as provided to us by the planning commission and planning commissioner.
So that would be the 5-foot variance.
Revised, yes.
5-foot
5-foot variance with a gutter.
The
with the
revised
gutters.
adjustment, yes.
Okay, with the gutters.
Yes, they
All
confirm
right.
the gutters.
Okay.
Get a second on that?
I second.
All right. Let's do a roll call on that one as well.
Commissioner Parrish,
Approve.
Commissioner Nico, Commissioner Brewer,
Approve, yes.
Commissioner Raymond,
Yes.
Commissioner Hallwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett,
Yes.
Chairman DeBreu.
Yes.
Time's up, gotta go.
All right. And understanding is that we still have some issues remaining on item 5, unfinished business.
Yes, my recommendation is, item 5, we're still working with the applicant. And, thank y'all for coming.
Okay.
We're still working with the applicant, so it remains on the table. Item number 6, we're still working on that, so we recommend that it stays on the table and not move it off.
Okay.
If that's fine with y'all.
And just, I don't know if we ever mentioned it, but there were no other folks that signed up to speak. There were no public comments on either agenda item tonight?
Correct.
Okay.
Only other than the one mentioned by
Got
Ms.
it.
Duffy.
Just wanted to make sure we were clear on that.
All right, any further commissioner comment? All right. Next city council meeting is Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. The next planning commission meeting is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025.
And yes, we do have agenda items.
Good.
Do you care to elaborate on that?
Well, certainly, I would love to.
Some of us may need to make plans to be elsewhere.
Certainly. All right, from the city council, we're going to have a public hearing. In fact, we're going to have 2 public hearings. One is the subject of the solicitor's license ordinance, and I think that's very timely that we're doing that. And then the other one is the election signs and discussing those. I think that's very timely too. Also, then we have 2 variance requests, and we have one re-subdivision request. So
Good grief.
we'll have a full agenda. And hopefully by that point in time, we can move these items off the table. And so, pack a snack.
Especially with the subdivision request.
When we, the signs, we're just addressing like the whole sign ordinance or just?
My
Part-
understanding is to address, the directive from the council was to address the political signs being 2 feet from the road,
Okay,
okay?
so just that,
Some
Yeah.
elements of the temporary sign, there's some things
Okay.
that Pat and I looked at too. You know,
Okay.
we kind of rewrote all the
Yeah.
ordinances. We put the new code together. So we may have some suggestions on kind of some clarification, but
Okay.
it'll mainly address temporary signs, because there was also, I believe, some discussion about real estate signs and some other things. But it'll be mainly the political signs, mainly that issue of their location and size, and maybe
so
some other
There
elements.
wasn't an issue on one of the sizes, or somebody thought there was an issue on one of the political signs?
Size of the signs.
Yes, there was an issue on that. I haven't heard any that was not brought up in that discussion.
Right, well, it was
So,
corrected immediately, wasn't
no, I can't say that has happened.
it?
it was what,
And
I
that's,
didn't hear what you
and that's
said.
one of the things, our sign ordinance, especially for political signs, I mean, right now they're exempt in terms of needing a permit, but the way the ordinance reads, if there is a violation, for example, if the size of the sign is too large, gives the property owner 30 days to correct it. Well, as we know, the election cycle's pretty short, and so essentially, those signs have been allowed to be kind of left up over time. So we're going to kind of look at some options there.
But it will be a public hearing for the public to give their input and for y'all to give your input. And if there's other areas within the sign ordinance you want to discuss and direct staff to pursue, we're at your beck and call.
I know one of the meetings a few months ago, we were supposed to start looking into the new business, the old existing businesses that had a year to comply.
Grandfathered stuff.
So where are we at on that?
We're still in the, with all the construction that we've had and all the challenges to our businesses, we're looking to come up with something that is palatable to them, something that they can tolerate without being. So we're still working on that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
As
kind of.
politically as I could, right?
And, there are not a whole lot that are not of those window signs that we talked about. There's not a whole lot of one. That's the one that we had the sunset on, the area, the window
No,
sign.
it's the pole signs. It's
Well,
the pole signs.
well,
'Cause we took care of the window signs.
All of them are taken care of?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the one issue that had a sunset on it. The debate that we were gonna have, Pat is correct, was whether to put a sunset clause on the pole signs as well. And
Right.
that's what we have.
And convert those to monument
Monuments,
signs.
And so
Okay.
you'll see the two gas stations at the front of the city, both of their pole signs are down. So they're now having to, when they redo them and get new signs, they're gonna have to be monument signs. So
So-
some of it is kind of clearing itself up, but Pat is right, and thanks for reminding me of that, Pat. With the new construction, businesses are kind of hurting
Sure.
right now anyway, so.
All right.
Very good.
Did you have any comments or anything, sir? No? Okay. Well, I just saw you coming back in. I thought there was something else going on. Perfect. All right. All right. Absent anything further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move so.
Second.